On this episode of History Legends, we examine the remarkable story of the forgotten samurai who crossed the Pacific, a man whose name was nearly lost to time, but whose voyage changed history. Before Japan opened its borders, before global diplomacy existed as we know it, one samurai dared to set sail across the largest ocean on Earth. This is the true story of Hasekura Tsunanaga, the warrior diplomat who traveled from feudal Japan to the shores of Mexico, Spain, and Rome, centuries before Japan's modern era would even begin. The year is 1613. Japan stands at a delicate crossroads. After more than a century of war, the country has finally found peace under the rule of the Tokugawa shogunate. But this peace is fragile. The shoguns fear foreign influence, especially the spread of Christianity and the growing power of European traders. They begin to close the country's borders, tightening their grip on religion and trade. Yet not everyone agrees with isolation. In the far north, a visionary warlord named Date Masamune, the one-eyed dragon of Oshu, believes Japan's future lies beyond the horizon. He dreams of opening new routes of trade and communication with the outside world. To achieve this, he needs an ambassador, a samurai capable of navigating not just the seas, but the politics of foreign courts. That man would be Hasekura Rokumon Tsunanaga, a loyal retainer of noble birth, fluent in diplomacy, yet bound by the honor of a warrior. His journey would take him farther than any Japanese had ever gone. Under Masamune's command, shipwrights, aided by Spanish experts, constructed a massive galleon in the port of Ishinomaki. It was named the San Juan Bautista, or St. John the Baptist. Built with Japanese craftsmanship and Western design, this vessel symbolized a bridge between two worlds. When the ship was ready, it carried a crew unlike any before. 180 Japanese sailors and samurai, 40 Spanish crewmen, and several Franciscan monks, including Father Luis Sotelo, a Spanish missionary determined to spread Christianity in Japan. At their head stood Hasekura Tsunanaga, armored, resolute, and unaware that he was about to make history. Their mission: sail across the Pacific to New Spain, modern-day Mexico, to open trade and diplomatic relations on behalf of Date Masamune and the shogunate. It was a daring gamble, and one that would test the endurance of every man aboard. The San Juan Bautista left Japan in October 1613. The Pacific Ocean, vast, unpredictable, and deadly, stretched before them. Storms battered the sails, sickness spread through the decks, and food ran short. For the Japanese, this was uncharted territory in every sense. No map could prepare them for the endless waves or the isolation of open sea. After nearly 3 months, they reached the port of Acapulco, the first Japanese ship ever to arrive in the Americas. The sight of samurai stepping onto the shores of the New World stunned the locals. To them, these armored men seemed like legends come to life. From there, Hasekura led his delegation on a grueling journey inland through jungles and mountains to Mexico City, where Spanish officials received them with awe and curiosity. But this was only the beginning. Their next destination would take them even farther, across another ocean, to the heart of Europe. In 1614, Hasekura Tsunanaga and his envoys set sail from Veracruz to Spain, landing in Seville after another perilous voyage. The arrival of a Japanese delegation in full ceremonial armor caused a sensation across the Iberian Peninsula. Crowds filled the streets to witness the samurai ambassadors from the mysterious islands of the East. King Philip III received Hasekura with honor. The samurai presented letters from Date Masamune written in gold ink, offering friendship, trade, and even the possibility of Christian missions in Japan. The king was impressed but cautious. Spain's empire was vast, yet relations with Asia were delicate. Still, Hasekura was treated as an honored guest. During his stay, he converted to Christianity, taking the name Don Felipe Francisco Hasekura, a moment captured in European records and in the portrait that still bears his likeness today. In that painting, we see a man of two worlds, the samurai stoicism of Japan and the spiritual serenity of the West. But Hasekura's mission did not end in Spain. His next destination was the center of Christianity itself, Rome. In November 1615, Hasekura arrived in the Eternal City. His presence fascinated the people of Europe. A samurai in formal robes, accompanied by Japanese retainers and priests, walking through the ancient streets of the Vatican. He was granted an audience with Pope Paul V, to whom he presented two formal letters, one from Date Masamune and one written in his own hand, seeking trade, friendship, and permission for missionaries to enter Japan. The Pope received him warmly, bestowing blessings and gifts. For a brief moment, the dream of a spiritual and political alliance between Japan and the West seemed within reach. But even as Hasekura's mission found favor abroad, tides were turning back home. The Tokugawa shogunate had grown suspicious of Christianity. By 1614, the faith was banned, missionaries expelled, and Japanese converts persecuted. The world Hasekura had left behind no longer existed. Hasekura and his reduced entourage returned to Japan in 1620, 7 years after they had set sail. Instead of triumph, they were met with silence. Christianity was outlawed. The shogunate had begun its policy of sakoku, or national seclusion. His letters from the Pope and Spanish kings were ignored. The gifts he brought back were confiscated or hidden. Even his lord, Date Masamune, distanced himself from the mission to avoid suspicion. The man who had carried Japan's voice across oceans found himself an exile in his own homeland. Records of his later life are scarce, but it's believed he lived quietly until his death, around 1622, his achievements largely forgotten. His family was forced to renounce Christianity, and within a generation, even his descendants were erased from official memory. For over 250 years, Japan remained closed to the world. Hasekura's journey faded into obscurity, preserved only in the scattered European archives and local legend. But when Japan reopened in the 19th century, historians rediscovered his story, and with it, a forgotten chapter of global exploration. Today, Hasekura Tsunanaga is honored as a pioneer of international diplomacy. In Seville, a statue of him stands proudly along the river he once sailed. In Rome, his portrait hangs in the Capitoline museums. And in Sendai, a full-scale replica of the San Juan Bautista serves as a museum, a tribute to Japan's first ambassador to the world. Hasekura's journey was more than a mission of politics or faith. It was a bridge, a brief, shining connection between two civilizations separated by an ocean and centuries of isolation. He proved that even in an age defined by swords and shoguns, curiosity and courage could cross any boundary. Though history nearly forgot him, the legacy of Hasakura Tsunanaga endures, a samurai who looked beyond the horizon and dared to dream of a world without borders. You've been watching History Legends, brought to you by Forgotten Chronicle HQ, where the stories of history's lost heroes are brought back to life.